2 days, what has been happening?
Yes, the conference kicked off yesterday. As you know, that Botswana is trying to diversify its economy. You know that Botswana has been a country that has been highly dependent on diamond mining. So what has been happening in the past 12 years, the country has been tapping into other sectors such as the automotive sector, tourism, agriculture, freight, logistics, to try and see how they can stimulate the economy and attract foreign direct investment. What we've seen is scores of officials, business people that have descended here in Gaborone to come and attend Global Expo Botswana 2018. Botswana is a country of just over 2.5 million people. One of the interesting things is that they say that here in Botswana they've got more livestock, they've got more cattle than people. So when you look at their beef sector, it's also a very important sector. But what the farmers are saying is that they have to try and see what else they can do with this livestock. For instance, like producing shoes, a handbag, and other leather products, Desiree.
Just give us a sense of which African countries have shown interest in trading with Botswana and are present at the trade forum.
We've got representatives from South Africa, Swaziland, Malawi, Mozambique, and other countries in the SADC region. But we've also seen delegates from India, from the UK, countries such as Scotland that have come here to Botswana. The Chinese are also here. Actually, as I speak to you now, we know that tonight, later on today, we'll have a keynote address by the Vice President of India, who has brought along with him a high-profile delegation of business people that are looking for opportunities, possible investment opportunities here in Botswana. Desiree, but joining me to talk a bit more about the Global Expo and other people that have come here to the Global Expo is Ms. Neo Mwoki of Global Investment Solutions in the UK. Thanks for joining us here on the agenda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. Can you just tell us about your input here at the Global Expo Botswana? What is your role as Global Investment Solutions?
So I think I should first of all clarify that I work for a company called Aberdeen Standard Investments. It is a global asset manager, the biggest asset manager in Europe and one of the biggest in the world. We manage about £700 billion in assets, and right across all asset classes. We manage equities, bonds, private markets, etc., etc. And I work in a team that is called the Solutions Team. And what we do is that, as you know, that asset management, the investment industry is changing. What investors want, their preferences are changing. And one of the things that we've seen as well is that there's, a huge amount of competition. There's a lot of pressure on fees. And what we've had to do is to try to differentiate ourselves as a big asset manager. And the way that we're doing that is to basically offer our clients more than just products, but to offer them solutions as well, such as advice on strategic asset allocation, such as advice on their liability matching, etc., etc. And that is what my team does. And so my involvement in this particular Expo is that recently Aberdeen Standard Investments launched what is called an impact fund. Now, impact investing is, it is a new nascent space that is growing in the world. And this is the growth of investors who are wanting to invest not only just for returns, but for good. And this is really being driven by people being concerned about the impact of businesses on the climate, and also just making sure that the gains that businesses are making are able to be distributed to the communities where the businesses operate. So we've launched this impact fund whereby our investors invest money in the fund and then we distribute it globally in projects that are serving communities and projects that are also having a positive impact on the climate. And that is why I have been invited here. So the fund was actually launched last week, but the idea started on the back of my Oxford Executive MBA course in March this year. And so far we have already attracted £150 million into the fund, and we have a huge amount of interest from investors from all over Europe who are interested in putting money, because a lot of investors are actually changing. People don't want to be putting money into tobacco companies, into weapons, etc., etc. They are wanting to put money into projects that are going to contribute to the society. So I'd like to thank the BITC for inviting me, and I'd also like to thank the Ministry of Botswana, who are really the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, who are really pushing Botswana's agenda of trying to diversify the economy. And bringing people like me into this global expo and other investors is very, very helpful, because through investors like myself, we can basically see how we can help channel FDI, foreign direct investments, into Botswana, into projects that investors all over the world care about, and basically help in the efforts to diversify the economy.
Okay. From where you are standing, what opportunities do you see for investors here in Botswana?
So from where I am, and I'd like to draw a parallel on a country that has had a lot of bad press at the moment, and I'll start there. And I'm only mentioning it because I think their efforts are very commendable, and there's a lot of parallels to Botswana. So Saudi Arabia has what they call Vision 2030. And the parallels to Botswana is that it's a country that is half of a desert. The 40 to 50% of their income is reliant on just oil, and they are really Vision 2030. That Vision 2030 is about diversifying their economy. It's about using the resources that they have to diversify their economy. Now, the parallel to Botswana is that although we are not in the bottom of the pyramid as a country, we're still stuck in the middle. The economy is not growing, and we do need to diversify away from diamonds. So that is where the parallel is. We have a huge, a growing number of young people who are educated, who are trained, who do not have jobs. They're coming out of tertiary education with no jobs. And when you have scores of these children, youths coming out of, we need to create opportunities for them. So I'll talk about a couple of the opportunities that I'm seeing. And this is really leveraging some of the innovations that we're seeing in technology space. You're talking about blockchain, you're talking about, using solar power, etc., etc. So it is just leveraging the technologies that are coming up as part of the fourth industrial revolution. So an example of what Botswana could be doing is that using the desert. So Saudi Arabia is part of 2030. They're using that desert. They have decided that they've told the world they want to be seen as an innovation hub, and they're going to use that desert to build a smart city. And that smart city, everything is going to be technology, and the idea is that they will be seen as a pioneer in that space. Now, that is something that Botswana could do. We have a vast desert. We could use the desert as a data store, a data warehouse. Yeah. We could use the desert, it's a vast desert. We have, a high concentration of sun even in the desert. We could actually set up solar energy in that space to diversify and to complement the energy that is generated from coal. And if we can do that at a scale that is sufficient enough, we could even export energy.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things. Again, one final thing is, we have the Okavango Delta, and a lot of, and the only thing that we have been doing in the north and the Okavango Delta is tourism, which is brilliant, and I think it is helping in terms of our efforts to diversify the economy.
Okay.
But there are other things that we could do with that. Green bonds, which is where you're using your natural resources to attract investment, and your investors are paying you on the back of the efforts that you're doing to preserve that environment, is something that funds like mine could actually put money into. So it is about understanding the kind of innovations that are being put forward as part of the fourth industrial revolution.
Okay.
And it is about leveraging those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks very much for the information. Unfortunately, we have to cross live to another
that's
event.
fine. That's
but
fine.
Thanks for the information.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what we have time for here in Botswana. We'll be giving you more information from Global Expo Botswana as and when it happens back to Johannesburg.
Thank you so much there to Njanji Chauke.